All right, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I am going to show you a no BS way for you to instantly increase your credit score by at least 100 points or up to 100 points, right? Now, when it comes to the methods that I'm about to share with you in this video, results are going to vary. So I at least want to put that out there because I know that at least one person, I'm going to get hundreds of comments of people saying this worked or thanks so much, or, I saw XYZ amount of points. And there's always that one or two, group of people that they want to kind of come together and conspire against you and say, this didn't work. I only saw a 5-point jump, or my credit score probably dropped. And look, if your credit score probably dropped from the methods that I'm about to share with you in this video, then it's most likely because you did something else completely against what I'm about to share with you in this video. Now, first things first, before going any further into any of these methods and how we're going to structure this. Now, the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to pull your credit report. Now, you can do this either through your annual credit report, which allows you to pull a free credit report or up to 3 credit reports every year. If you, let's say, have Experian, if you have TransUnion, if you have Equifax, if you have Credit Karma, right? Any of these different websites or apps allows you to purchase a credit report that's going to give you access to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, which are the 3 primary bureaus that are going to report and that reflect over on your FICO credit score. The reason you want that is because you not only want to know what your credit score is when you start this process, but you also want to see what's on your credit report and what needs to be, what I can say, attacked the quickest, or just get deleted overall, or even disputed. So with that said, I want you to also ask yourself, why do you want a higher credit score, right? What's a higher credit score going to do for you? Oftentimes, whenever I speak with someone, why do you want a higher credit score? They say, oh, it just looks good, or, I can show off. What are you going to do with this credit score? Because this is really power. Cash is one thing, but having credit really gets you into the door. I always say that it's kind of like when you're going to go out to the club, or it's kind of like when you're going to go out with some friends and hang out, maybe at a bar, right? Where yes, you have cash because you get to the bar and you're hanging out, but you still need credit, aka it's kind of like the ID to actually get into the bar, or it's kind of like that cover charge to actually get in, into the VIP section. Credit kind of works like that, where you get invited into the VIP section where everyone's hanging out, and then at that point you can leverage that to maybe hang out, with some of your friends, buy some good food, maybe listen to some good music, and at that point that's when you start, investing or really moving your cash around. So I say that to say this. You having a stronger credit is going to allow you to find better deals if you are in the real estate space. If you, let's say, wanted to finance a car, you're going to get the best rates if you have better credit. If, let's say, you wanted to get a business loan, or if you wanted to get some business credit, some business lines of credit, what you do with your personal line is going to ultimately reflect what ends up happening on the business line. Because a good rule of thumb, before we get into the first thing here, the good rule of thumb is that, let's say, if you have up to a $10,000 personal line of credit, usually on the back end of that, you can have anywhere between 3 to 5 times the amount on a business line of credit, and vice versa, right? If you have a $50,000 personal line of credit, then there should be no problem if you follow the steps that I'm about to give you, having $150,000, even a $200,000 credit card or two to your business name. But again, you have to set this up the right way in order for this to work. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the first tip. And before I do, keep in mind that you want to have at least 2 to 3 of these, what I can call different ways. You want to have them, and you want to kind of bundle them up, because that's going to give you the best results that you're going to get to really maximize your credit, really your credit score, and what ends up happening with your credit within the next, what we can call 30 to 45 days. Check this out. The first thing that you want to do is you want to ask your bank, if you already have a credit card to your name, you want to ask your bank to increase your credit limit. Now, I know that sounds simple. I know that sounds like, oh, come on, dude. You seriously had me, dragging me along this video for this part? Believe me, it gets better. But if you already have a credit card, you want to call your credit card company and you want to speak to a rep and say, hey, look, I want to increase my limit. I've been with you guys. I've been a customer for the last 6 months. I've been with you guys for the last year. I wouldn't recommend doing this unless you've actually been with your credit card company or who's issued you your credit card for at least 6 months or more, and for the last 90 days, you haven't been late. And I would even venture off to say for the last 180 days, you haven't been late on your payments, because this allows you to build up a case. So you want to let them know, remind them, hey, look, I've been a loyal customer. I've been making my payments on time. And the second part is going to be important, because if you don't do this, it's going to just throw this entire process out the window. You want to say, hey, I want to ask for a credit increase, a credit limit increase on my credit card, but I don't want a hard inquiry, right? What ends up happening with the hard inquiry is if that hits your credit report and if that gets reported to the credit bureaus, you could end up seeing anywhere between a 30 to a 45 point dip on the next reporting when they go to file. Again, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So steer clear of that. They could do something that's called a soft pull, which would not affect your credit report the same way that a hard inquiry would. That's first things first. The second thing that you want to do on top of this, remember, you want to try to find different ways to bundle, is you want to try to dispute or get deleted anything, any items off of your credit report. Now, obviously, collections, if you have them, they could take a little longer if you are, let's say, sending out 619 letters, things like that, or if you have it in litigation. But when it comes to getting some of these inquiries removed, you can do that. You can also get late payments removed. I would say that those two right there get knocked off probably the quickest when they are disputed. Just off of getting, let's say, 2 or 3 different inquiries, or even of these late payments removed, you can see, I would say, even a 50 to a 60 point jump, especially if you kind of lay that and go tandem with an increase in credit limit. Because remember, an increase in credit limit also means that utilization goes up. So let's say if you are spending $100 on a $1,000 credit card, you're at a 10% credit utilization. If you get that bad boy up to $2,000, $2,500, even $3,000, right? Whatever they grant you, that is going to shrink your credit utilization, and it's going to make your credit file and your credit report look a lot what we can call cleaner. Now, this third one is going to be the secret sauce for you boosting the heck out of your credit score, and that's going to be adding aged trade lines. Now, if you have no idea what a trade line is, in a nutshell, a trade line is, think of it kind of like any type of credit, right? That's a mortgage, that's a loan, that's a secure loan, that's an unsecured loan. That's, let's say, if you have a car under your name, let's say if you have a mortgage under your name, let's say if you have American Express, those are all trade lines. So let's go ahead and add the beginning part of that. Aged trade lines is just another way of saying a trade line that's already been seasoned, right? It's been open for a good amount of years, a significant amount of time. So let's say if you have a parent, and you're watching this, maybe you're still in college, or let's say that you have a relative, right? Brother, sister, uncle, somebody that you know and trust that's willing to add you to their trade line as an authorized user. They've had their credit card for the last, let's say, 10 years. And then they add you. Guess what you're going to get on your credit report? Yeah, you're going to get that history on your credit report. And I've seen people go from, anywhere from a 550 all the way to a 670 just by adding a trade line alone, an age trade line, not including anything else that I've even mentioned here. Now, look, I know that this can be different for everyone. Maybe you are the first person in your household that's looking to actually improve their credit. Maybe you don't have access to any trade lines. So maybe you can't do this part, but you can add some trade lines, right? And you can go ahead and do that by adding either some secure loans or maybe some type of secured cards to your, let's say, credit report. Now, my recommendation, if you, let's say, don't want your credit pulled, or let's say, and again, it would hurt you if you get your credit pulled if you're applying for more credit cards. That's why every way that I'm giving you right now doesn't actually go on your credit report unless you're adding the trade line, meaning it's going to help you out. I would suggest going, if you're going to take the secured credit card route, go with something like an Open Sky, because with Open Sky, they're not going to pull your credit on the questionnaire. They're going to ask you for things like, what's your income like, right? So if you're going to apply for a secured card, try to go for one that doesn't pull your credit. No pulls at all. That's an instant trade line. But in my opinion, I would suggest that adding a secure loan type of trade line to your account would actually benefit you more, because it's going to be a higher limit. I mean, let's think about this. If you have, let's say, $1,000 or even less than that, maybe a $500 secured credit card versus a $5,000, that's 10x trade line, which one looks sharper and which one looks more efficient to the credit bureaus. It's going to be this one right here, right? Now, one thing that I would caution though is when you are buying your trade lines or when you're looking at, let's say, different options, make sure that you're either getting it from a reputable site, and make sure that if you're adding a trade line from someone to you, it's someone that you know and someone that you trust, because anything that gets negatively reported on their end gets negatively reported on your side. So if you, let's say, wanted to purchase a trade line or a secured, let's say, type of loan, you can check out websites like My Jewelers Club. I would say are one of the more reputable ones around, where they don't check your credit, and then you can get an instant up to $5,000 trade line added to your credit. Now, something else that I also want you to note with that is that adding the trade line is just that immediate boost. When you add that trade line, it's kind of like adding steroids to your credit report. But it doesn't end there. What you want to do is within that window that you had that trade line, because some of these trade lines fall off after 60 to 90 days, you want to take that time to apply for the loan that you're applying for. Try to get the mortgage at that time. Or if you wanted to take that time to maybe apply for your own type of credit cards, maybe now that your credit went from a 620 to a 710 or from a 650 to a 730, take that time to apply for your own credit cards, because that's going to become revolving credit that does not come off your credit card. That's also known as a primary. So add that, or take that time to add those lines, because once that trade line comes off, you want to have it supplemented with something else, because that score will come down if something else doesn't supplement it at the time of that removal. So that's just a tip that I have for you guys right there. So there you have it. That is pretty much the game and some of the sauce that you guys should know when it comes to building your credit pretty quickly. Again, try to play around with the formula on that. Maybe pick step 1, step 2, and then maybe add that trade line. Maybe you don't have maybe you have somebody that has a seasoned trade line. Add the seasoned trade line and maybe ask for that bump in your credit limit. Again, you can play around with these, but for sure, try to have at least 1 to 2 trade lines added on there, and you'll thank me later. If you found value in this content, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Join the official community. Don't forget that anytime we're not posting on here, we're posting over on the Inside with Irv show, which is our podcast style channel. And as always, I want to thank all of you guys that have already joined our exclusive member group only over on OnlyFans, which has, gosh, it's been growing. We've only been open for about a month now over on that side, but so many of you guys have been getting some behind the scenes financial tools and resources that you guys have already been applying to your businesses, to your credit, and just to your lives, and just to getting the amount of messages that we've been getting. So if that sounds like something that that you would want to be a part of, make sure to check us out over on that side. I will link that down in the description. Once again, I appreciate you guys watching. Until next time, I will see you in the next video.